Hi, welcome to Draw Plans. I'm Tom Norris, and today we're going to focus on the touchy subject of scaled plans. Now, I think based on the loads of queries we get in, or the amount of queries we get in with regard to drawing plans to scale, I would say that that's one of the biggest stumbling or tripping points for most people who enter the world of CAD or try to use CAD to do a few drawings or to learn how to do drawings. I'm not quite sure what it is, because it's a relatively simple process, but it's something that people don't seem to be able to get their head around, and they really struggle with it. So what I'm trying to do today is to simplify, and how I'm going to do that is I'm going to get straight to it, because it really is as simple. So if we start with a brand new page, so we go File, we go New, we're going to go New from scratch. So basically we're going to create a whole new file as if we just opened up TurboCAD for the first time. So this is TurboCAD today, but the same process or very similar process will work for all the other CAD packages. But if they don't, you're welcome to leave a comment and I'll come on back to you if you're getting stuck. So this is the default setup we're looking at today, and basically the default setup it's because it's a US product, it's done in inches, it's imperial, and over here in Europe, and I'm in London, so we work metric. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to switch. If you're in America, then clearly you don't need to switch, but it's important that we work out how to switch. So to do that, you pop up here and you go Drawing Setup, and very simple. Come down here and you look at space units, you go English metric. And now when you come here, this is one of the ways, and incidentally in most of the CAD packages there's loads of different ways of doing the same thing, but to keep it simple, within this drawing setup we look at model space and we're looking at the units. So we want metric rather than imperial, and I'm going to set up the scale here. And at the moment it's full size 1:1. So basically you can only draw something as big as something like you could draw perhaps a laptop computer or a mobile phone or an apple. But if you wanted to draw something bigger like a house or a room or an apartment, then you'd have to use scale to be able to draw it correctly. So what we're going to do today is we're going to draw, and we're going to draw on a scale of 1 to 100, and that is basically the preferred start out scale which we set up for all our drawings, and we're going to change it here 1 to 100. So if I do that, and then I'm going to recap in a moment. So if you miss something, don't worry, we're recapping, but we're not quite finished yet, because what we've done is we've set up our model space, which is where we do all our drawing, but we're going to set up our print space, and to do that we go File, Page Setup, and then we're going to click on A3 because we're going to be printing in A3, and we're going to set up here ISO A3. Scale, we've already set it up at 1 to 100, and we're going to click it OK. So now we're actually set up scaled 1 to 100. Now, so let's work this out. So if I was to, shall we put the grid on? Let's put the grid on. That always helps. Just pop up here and give it a click. We're going to draw a rectangular box, and the box is going to be 3 meters long. So if I start here on the 0 and I go 3, that's 3 millimeters. Well, we want 3 meters. So what we do is just tab down, and we're on the bottom left here, and you go 3, 1, 2, 3, and then for the other sides we're going to go 2 meters, 1, 2, 3, and now if we look at it, we've got a box. Now that's 3 meter by 2 meter box. So we're going to let's do one that's half that. Now I could make a copy and just reduce it, but we're going to start again. So we're going to go at a box that's 1.5 meters. So here we can draw it, and the preferred way of drawing it would be 1500. I just tab down and we're going to do 1. There you go. So I have reduced, I have reduced and drawn a smaller box. If you want to see the size of the box, down here, it's in the inspector bar, 1500 by 1000. If you want to check this one, it was 3000 by 2. Do another one. Let's do a square, 1000 by 1000. Well, the simplest way of doing it is you just stretch, tab, and you go 1, tab 1, 2, 3. Now we're drawing in scale. Didn't quite do that one right, so I'm going to just click on it again. And if I click on it, you'll see the numbers 1000, and that should be, just tab, tab, tab. It should be 1000 also. So this is our square. So now we're drawing in scale. If you want to print, well, obviously what you do is you copy it to paper space, and then you print. And if your paper space isn't set up, or you don't know how to set up paper space, then just check one of my other videos, because I've recently done a video for how to set up the paper space. So what I've actually done recently is I've done a video for setting up the model space. I've done one for setting up the paper space. Now this one is focused on scale, and scaling is a relatively simple operation. It's just that people don't know how to do it, because paper space ties in with the model space and the paper space. So scaling, paper space, model space, it's all tied in. So we're going to do a quick summary again. I'm going to close this, say changes, no. I'm going to go back to my default page. We're going to go new, from scratch. We're going to set up the drawing setup. Brings up this menu, and incidentally, well, I'm going to distract. I can just drag this here. Now look, 1, 2, grid setup. I can go directly to space units here. Metric, imperial, metric, and model space. This is the scale. Scale, always leave it absolute. And the model space, we're going to set it to 1 to 100. Over here, nothing. Don't touch anything else unless you want to experiment, but we're focusing on getting the page or drawing set up. So here we have now, we're set up in, we've changed it from imperial to metric, and we've scaled it at 1 to 100. If you want to change the scale, let's change the scale. So go here, change the scale to 1 to 200. Okay, now what we need to do also is we need to change the page setup for printing. So we've already set the page up at 1 to 200, so now we're going to be printing on A3. And A3 is the standard again in the UK for printing in metric. And the scale is set at 1 to 200, and we're ready to roll. You don't do layout, don't have to do rendering, you do nothing. So you don't have to do any of that. All you have to do, I'm not sure if I saved that, so do it again. I didn't save it. Well done, Tom. A3 ISO, 1 to 200. Okay, so now here we go. We have a page scaled correctly. Now, if you're not sure about what scale means, well, let me give you a little example. Let's assume I draw a box. I'm going to draw a box at 50 mil. Tab 50, tab 50. So that's a box at a little square at 50 mil. Now 50 mil, as you know, it's around 2 inches. So it's, you know, like a cigarette box, a square cigarette box, short cigarettes. But if I want to draw a house, and a house is 5 meters by 5 meters, let me give you another box then. This time tab down, I'm going to go 5 meters wide, probably 10 meters back, isn't it? We go tab 1, 10, 1, 2, 3. So now there's a big difference. So as you can see, that's your little box that's 2 inches, and this is a house with a footprint of 10 meters by 5 meters. Now when we go to print these, we're going to have major problems because you wouldn't print it in the same way. So you're going to have to set up a paper size on a parallel to your, you probably need to set up a 1:1 page size here to be able to print that properly. But we're drawing in scale, so if I wanted to do now a larger box and I wanted to do 4 inches by 2, well, I could copy that as an example. We know that that's 2 by 2, and then I could tab and tab down 50 mil, so let's call this 100 mil. So there you go, that's a bigger box. Now this is scaled, we're all scaled here. 50 mil, 50 mil, 50 mil by 200. So if I wanted to do another box again, start fresh, do a box, stretch it out, tab. This time we're going to go 200, I should do 2000, no 200, we're in hundreds, 200 by 500. So everything here is scaled, and you can work out what the scale is. So if you were drawing a house, then you have to start looking at much bigger numbers. And again, I've shown you how to set up the page and shown you how to set the scale. So effectively what it means, what does the scale mean? Well, it's a scale is a way of representing a larger object on a page, meaning if you have a standard page and it's say like an A4, it's around 300 by 800, then how are you supposed to put a house on it if you don't use a scale? It's impossible. So you have to scale it. So you say, well, 1 inch means 100 inches, or 1 millimeter means 1000, and that's how you introduce a scale. So we can produce, you can put a city plan on an A3 because it's scaled. 1 inch or 1 centimeter or 1 millimeter will mean 1000, and you have to write the scale at the bottom. So watch out for our one of our videos. We're going to be doing another one called scale bars. It's going to come up soon. Might even be very close to this one. So really and truly what you need to be looking at if you're a newbie to CAD and you're not quite sure about model space or page setup or scaling, we've done a few videos recently, so it should be kind of grouped together. Look for the model space video, look for the paper space video, look for the scaling video, and the next one that's going to be coming is the scale bar, how to create a scale bar so that everyone knows what your drawing means. So if you have a little box, the scale bar underneath will show you that it's 1 equals 50 or 1 equals 1000, etc., etc. Okay, that's about as much as I can show you. You know how to set up the model space, how to set up and how to set up the scaling. So that's it for now. It's a simple lesson, but you want to go over it and over it so that it becomes standard in your head. You really want to remember it all the time. Scaling is a hugely important part of drawing in CAD because you need to know how to scale in order to be able to draw anything that's bigger than an A4 or an A3. Okay, brilliant. That's fine. Any questions, leave a comment. Otherwise, see you on the next lesson. Thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.